So the Academy announced Oscar nominations recently, and they're just off. Now, a little bit of background first, because I feel like whatever I say, it is going to piss some people off. So, just a disclaimer, I am actually qualified to speak on this. I have a degree in film studies, and I also have a degree in film directing, so I feel like if anyone should have something to say about this, it could be me as well. I used to wake up in the middle of a dark Polish night every year to watch the ceremony since I was 16 years of age. And during my film studies, I would watch every single film that was nominated in the main category and also sometimes some other films from the other categories. Like, I was obsessed. Well, maybe not as much as some of my course mates, but I was into it. And even though my interest in the Oscars has waned a little over the years, like, I don't get up at night anymore because I feel like the galas are just not that interesting, I still have the basic knowledge that I gained over the years of what sort of films get nominated, what sort of films win, etc. So now that we have established that, let's talk about the drama. On one side of the conflict, we have the Academy, a prestigious, world-renowned organization that is also extremely backwards in many ways. They have received a lot of criticism over the past couple of years for keeping the awards very male and white. And I mean, you can't even argue about that, because when you look at the lists of nominees and the films that got nominated, it's just a confirmation of what people have been saying. Things are not looking fantastic, and they have been trying to make amends for a while, which I personally think is pure PR. Like, they absolutely don't care about all that. They just don't want to get cancelled. So they have been trying to introduce more diversity in the way they select nominees. But in terms of female directors, let's go back a bit. So 2009, Catherine Bigelow has won Best Director as a first woman ever, 2009. And until 2020, she remained the only woman to ever achieve that. Be allowed that would be a better way to phrase it. I remember as a teen checking the Best Director category each year, and each year I would be disappointed at how it's just men. And one could argue it was because none of the big or successful movies were directed by women, but teenage me couldn't help but think, is it because women are just not good enough to direct big movies, or is it because they're just not given that opportunity? Now, on the other side of the conflict, we have the Barbie movie, the highest grossing movie of 2023, definitely a cultural moment, from the biggest marketing campaign I have ever witnessed in my life for a movie, to the plethora of memes and controversies and all that stuff. Love it or hate it, it was the shit. Barbie was the shit of 2023. Don't get me wrong, I'm actually not a massive fan of the movie itself. Like, it was fun, it had its moments, it was a little tiring, it was a little cheesy sometimes, definitely not my favorite movie. America Ferrera's monologue sounded like something out of a Facebook comment section, so it wasn't that groundbreaking to me. I didn't understand why there was a need for so many subplots, and for the last hour I just kind of wanted the film to end. But do I understand the pop culture significance of the movie? Absolutely. Was sitting in a movie theater packed with girlies wearing pink a life-changing experience? Of course! It was groundbreaking. I have never felt so female. But one thing I was certain when I left the cinema, regardless of what I thought about the movie, was that it was Greta's film. Since my background is in film directing, I always pay extra attention to this. How much of the director can we feel when watching the movie? How many conscious directorial choices can we notice and appreciate? How much does the movie feel in control of the director? And with Barbie, the answer to all these questions is 100%. It's the ultimate director's film. It's a portfolio, it's everything a director would want to direct. Greta put as much of her in the movie as humanly possible, and I'm not even talking like work-wise, because of course there is hundreds if not thousands of people that have worked on this movie and worked hard on it, but it's all glued together by the director's vision, and Greta is a really strong glue. That's what I'm saying. This is why when I read the list of this year's nominees, I was pissed, because if this is not Oscar-worthy directorial work, I don't know what is. One of the reasons behind the Academy's decision to not include Greta could be that Barbie is a comedy movie, and comedies are usually looked down upon on the Oscars. Like, we all know a perfect Oscar-worthy movie. It's a TV biopic where the main character, who's also a very popular actor, undergoes a severe physical transformation for the role. And then we also have like a couple of really good supporting actors, a really good monologue, and a really strong argument scene. But then this argument doesn't really stand because comedies also do really good at Oscars. If you look at recent years, films like Birdman.
A couple months ago, I got into an internet argument. Crazy, I know. Me? Criticizing things? Well, that doesn't sound like me. But you're probably thinking, it's the internet, big whoop. Who cares? But this interaction was different. This actually happened 6 months ago, and I still think about it. Stay with me, I promise this is relevant. This argument took place on a post about A24's upcoming film called Priscilla, which is a biopic about Priscilla Presley, Elvis Presley's wife. And if you don't know who Elvis Presley is, the short answer is that you probably do, because he's one of those people that even if you don't know anything about him, you've most likely heard his music somewhere or seen him. Like shit, even if you've seen Lilo and Stitch, you know what Elvis looks like. Granted, Stitch is actually very cute in this outfit. He was extremely popular in the 1950s, has fans all over the world, including Lana Del Rey, and is nicknamed the King of Rock and Roll. And just to reinforce the gravitational pull that Elvis has around him, there are Elvis-themed weddings, which is basically the boomer version of a Harry Potter wedding for millennials. And just last year, Elvis actually got his very own biopic called Elvis, starring Austin Butler. And this movie, much like everything else surrounding Elvis, was a big deal. It won like a crap ton of awards, people love it, but one glaring issue with this film is that it completely ignores how weird his relationship was with Priscilla Presley. For starters, big Vine boom, Priscilla was only 14 years old when he met her, and he was 24. That is a 10-year age gap. That is a sophomore in high school with a full grown-ass man. And not only was he an adult, but one of the most popular musicians in the world. So of course to Priscilla, who was just a child, getting attention from this man would seem like the coolest shit ever. But no matter what way you look at it, it is a clear case of grooming and abuse. There's no ethical way that a 14-year-old and a 24-year-old can be together. End of story. And so I left a comment on this trailer saying I was excited to see this film because it was from her perspective and not his. That she deserved her own movie because Elvis was a groomer and a creep. And I have no idea why, but I expected this to be uncontroversial. I thought this was as fact-based as saying the sky is blue or the world is round. But to my horror and dismay, there was so many people in this comment section that defended what he did to her and even outright deny that there was anything wrong with their relationship. They would say things like, it was a different time, or he wasn't a pedophile, he waited until she came of age to have sex with her. But honestly, the worst defense that I saw has to be this one. So you're telling me that because his soulmate happened to be a lot younger when they met, at a time when it was not yet frowned upon, that makes him an awful person? Copium. Absolute copium. And the craziest part about all of this is that I went out of my way to tell them, hey, I understand. You like his music. You grew up with it. That's fine. But why would you be in denial about this? Why defend the act of grooming a 14-year-old? The words "times were different back then" seem to indicate two things. Number one, because people didn't care that it happened, that makes it okay. And number two, children were less innocent back then than they are now. These relationships would not have had the same psychological effect as they would today. These two arguments, born from the words "times were different back then," do not hold up for 3 whole seconds. Because of course a lot of horrible things used to be okay. And these things that we speak of that used to be okay have had irreversible consequences on many different communities, i.e. racism, homophobia, transphobia. And as for kids in the 1950s or earlier than that, do you think that that they just didn't have feelings? Like, did Priscilla suffer any more or less than this happening to somebody in 2023? I think not. The only appropriate thing that you can say times were different about is shuffling. Listen, we used to shuffle. We used to have shuffle sessions. Times were different back then. But what made me even more confused about Elvis somehow being exempt from any kind of responsibility about this
First of all, we have the leader, who is charismatic and usually a narcissist.
The first girl I ever hooked up with was at my party at my cottage. That girl's the girl he's marrying.
Cult leaders are power-hungry individuals who are typically narcissists who believe that the world revolves around them.
The sniff man showed him the way. Can I get a hallelujah? Hallelujah!
The cult will be playing on fear, love, grief, whatever your emotions are, to get you to comply and conform.
Well, you're a girl. It's a lot easier for you to be a virgin, because the longer you stay a virgin, the more pure and innocent you seem. The longer I stay a virgin, the more I become the laughingstock of the entire school.
I told you I'm not ready.
Can I be ready enough for the both of us?
Hello everybody, it's me, Pinely. I'm talking to you right now from a classic, sunny American college campus / high school. You can tell from the visuals that go out of my window and all these books. Look at all these goddamn books. The American Pie cinematic universe is absolutely bonkers. I was recently reminded of the fact that these love-making filled movies, I'm gonna have to call it that to avoid demonetization, were a pretty big part of my teenage years. I remember absolutely adoring them. One time when I was like 15, I remember watching almost all of them on a 15-hour flight to New York, and I'm pretty sure I had a pretty good time. The nudity probably helped quite a bit. In general, I feel like if you're somewhere between my age, which is 22, I'm a young man, to like 35, there's a pretty good chance that you've watched one of these movies in your formative teenage years. A very special age where what you know about the world of lovemaking, adult lovemaking time, is sometimes just limited to, you know, things that you see on TV and movies, or lies that your friends might tell you. And back then, I vividly remember that whenever I watch one of these movies, and a joke or statement might come up about a topic that I didn't really know anything about at the time, like, I don't know, women or women, I'd be like, haha. But is this actually true though? Can someone tell me, please? I really need to know. So recently I got a bit intrigued. I decided to look it up. And I realized that this series has more installments than all the Spider-Man movies combined. There are 9 American Pie movies out there. That's kind of nuts. How did that even happen? The first American Pie movie is literally just about a group of teenage boys looking to get laid before they finish high school. How did anyone manage to squeeze 9 movies out of that concept? Did they do it in a Fast and Furious style where things just get more and more insane with every installment? Do they hook up with aliens in the latest American Pie movie that came out, believe it or not, in 2020? Well, I, being the genius that I am, decided to watch all 9 of these American Pie movies in the span of 4 days while I was sick in bed with stupid Omicron. And while I can tell you for a fact there are no aliens involved in this series at all, I can
As a member of the Kardashian-Jenner clan, Kendall Jenner, whether you like it or not, will go down in the history books as a successful member of pop culture. An icon in her own right. No longer a kid living in the shadow of her infamous elder sister, Kim Kardashian, who, incidentally, I also consider to be a creep. Kendall Jenner has claimed her seat on the throne of entertainment and Hollywood royalty. Kendall is widely regarded as being the least problematic of the Kardashian-Jenner clan. The most natural. The nice girl. Down to earth. A nerd.
I'm a nerd.
Animal lover.
I was obsessed with animals. I still am.
I want to be on a farm in Wyoming with a ton of animals.
Cast into the spotlight against her will. I mean, she's so normal that she doesn't even know the names of celebrities.
I didn't have famous people on my wall. I'm not like cool like that. I barely know half the celebrities' names now.
Watch this video to the end, prepare to be gobsmacked, and then tell me in the comments whether you too believe that we as a society need to be more selective about the people that we choose to propel to such positions of fame, privilege, and power. Kendall Jenner, born in 1995 to parents Kris and Caitlyn Jenner, rose to fame in the reality TV show Keeping Up with the Kardashians. But even before Keeping Up with the Kardashians aired, Kendall was born into a life of luxury and privilege.
Have you ever done a chore before in your life?
No.
You need to do something.
No.
It's not cute to be a brat.
Her mum, Kris Jenner, was an entrepreneurial businesswoman who had already launched a successful exercise equipment brand in the 90s.
And now I'm 30, riding down my highway with my friends at my side. Everybody very happy, 'cause the girls are shining all the time. Like another fun-filled day.
And Father Caitlyn was a world-famous Olympian athlete.
Record! I spent a good part of my life getting ready for that day. I worked out a lot, ate a lot of Wheaties. Because a complete breakfast with Wheaties is good tasting and good for you.
Take it from Bruce Jenner. Wheaties is the breakfast of champions.
Now, Kendall, having starred in Keeping Up with the Kardashians for 15 years of her life, has garnered quite a lot of fame. Like I said, she was generally regarded as being the nice girl, down to earth, a tomboy. Or at least that seems to be what Kendall herself wants the public to think. However, unfortunately for Kendall, rumors soon began to circulate that, far from being the nice girl of the Kardashian-Jenner clan, she was in fact a closet mean girl. A rumor that she has been forced to deny many times.
What are some of the misconceptions that you've heard about yourself?
I think the one that I guess hurts the most is that people think I'm a mean girl, because that's just not the case. It can be upsetting when someone is questioning your character, and if only like people knew me.
But as is usually the case, where there is smoke, there is fire. And Kendall Jenner is in fact an asshole. Or at least that's what Corey Gamble, who is Kendall's mum, Kris Jenner's boyfriend, called Kendall when he had to let her know live on camera that she was indeed behaving like an asshole.
Let me tell you one thing, just so you understand. Kendall, you've been a rude person for years, man. You're an asshole when you feel like it. You get riled up for no reason.
Now, there are reasons that little Kendall Jenner has been accused of being a closet mean girl. She has been caught numerous times on camera when she doesn't even know she's being filmed, being rude to her fans. Like this time, when a fan politely and excitedly, might I add, asks Kendall for her autograph. Just look at the way Kendall reacts. The eye roll, the scowl. Like, would it kill her to smile? I don't know if Kendall realizes, but that's an actual human being that she's currently interacting with. It's free to be kind. Then there's this clip where Kendall momentarily pauses to smile for a fan's photo and then rudely pushes past her, leaving the fan open-mouthed in shock. I think someone needs to kindly sit Kendall down and explain to her that her fans are the very reason why she is in such a position of extreme wealth and privilege and power. Don't bite the hand that feeds you, Kendall. And then there's the time that a security guard is ruining her posing on the red carpet, and instead of pausing to ask him to move over a little bit or simply, I don't know, step aside yourself as a normal human being with any kind of manners would do, Kendall pushes him. Okay, Kendall, let's just ignore the fact that this man is there to protect you. He's simply doing his job. But, I mean, birds of a feather flock together, and Kendall's friends don't seem to be any nicer.
Are you tired of stalking me? Tired of constantly watching my page from a fake account? Talking about me to all of your friends? And simply just being a fucking weirdo? Then you need to call a psychiatric ward. Because, bitch, you're obsessed.
Does this give anyone else schoolgirl bully vibes? Like that group with a superiority complex who think they're above everyone else? Like, imagine being rich, famous, privileged beyond words, going out to dinner with your pals, and deciding to record this? Like, it's just so random, so uncalled for. What kind of adults actually behave that way? It's just so weird to me. Quick break to thank this video's sponsor, Aura. You don't have to be on Kardashian-Jenner level of fame to fall victim to online fraud or identity theft. And with more and more of our lives and our finances being online, having online security is more important than ever. This is why millions of people choose to enlist additional protection from companies such as Aura to help protect them online. You might be one of those people who think, I